Today we are talking about the curious case of Kyra Scott, known on TikTok as Mama Kyra Life, a single mom from Canada who shared the ups and downs of life with a toddler until one day she stopped posting completely. No goodbyes, no warnings, just silence. So what happened to Kyra Scott? And why hasn't she posted in over a year? Let's take a closer look. Kyra's TikTok was a blend of motherhood moments and personal stories. Her earliest posts show everyday life and sweet moments of affection. Her views averaged around 20 to 30 per video. Nothing viral yet, but she had built a loyal following of 4,000 followers.
I'm not gonna lie, I feel incredibly judged by letting my kid just sit and play in this puddle. But he's having so much fun, so screw it. Makes my life easier.
Her first TikTok dates back to December 15th, 2021. But after that, she took a 4-month break before posting again in April 2022 with a video of her labor story.
Here's a little storytime video for anyone who wants to hear it. When I was pregnant, all my friends would ask me, "Are you scared to deliver your baby?" And I was like, "No, not really. So many women do it. It can't be that hard." I was very, very wrong. So my labor started, and I was like, "Ooh, this isn't bad. It's kind of like a little cramp." That changed very fast, to the point where I was puking with every contraction, not knowing if I was going to shit my pants or my uterus was going to explode on my fucking vagina. I literally was passing out from the pain. I was like, this is impossible. Like, not everyone could have gone through this. Like, the world would not be populated if this is how this actually feels. So either my labor was really bad or I'm just way weaker than the average woman. Or maybe women are just super strong. But regardless, we get to the hospital. Turns out a ton of moms came in right before me. Yippee, great. I get there, I have to wear a mask, and I'm trying not to puke in my mask. They put me in this little holding room, and I'm like puking everywhere in their garbage room. Of course, I get the practicum student. She's nervous because I'm pretty sure I'm the first pregnant person she's worked on. So she can't find my vein. I'm bleeding everywhere. My baby's dad is passing out because he can't handle all the blood. So they had to give him a juice box so wouldn't faint. I'm like, I need the epidural and I need it now. My birth plan was to go as long as I could without it, and I honestly thought I could do it without the epidural. Because my mom's like, it's not bad. Childbirth isn't bad. I was like, okay, mom, clearly you lied to me or you have no feeling in your uterus. Because that was the worst experience ever. So finally, after a certain amount of time, they're like, we can't give you the epidural here, but when we move you up to your room, we can. I get up to my room like 2 hours later. They're like, we'll get the epidural people here right away. So it just happened that both epidural people were tied up in surgery because a dad had fainted and hit his head and had to go to a different hospital because they could not treat him as a patient at the women's hospital. So I guess it was really bad because they were tied up for additional 5 hours. So I'm just sitting there puking my guts out. Can't take morphine because it makes me super nauseous as well. Trying the laughing gas. I'm like just dying, absolutely dying. Finally, the epidural people come in. They give me this epidural and it was game over. Anyone out there considering it, just fucking do it. It will change your life. So then I start pushing. Baby's not coming out. They don't know what's going on. After I was pushing for 3 hours, they're like, something might be wrong. Let's get the OB in here. OB comes in. They're like, yeah, you're going to have to either get a C-section or forceps. And I was like, what's my pros and cons? They're like, the forceps, you're probably ripped your ass. Right then and there. I was like, okay, let's do the C-section. At this point, my epidural had worn off. So they had to get someone in to give me another epidural. But all of a sudden, the baby's heart rate dropped, so they had to rush us into the OR. My second epidural hadn't kicked in time, so they had to inject my spine with something. Well, this paralyzed me up to my fucking throat, and I have the worst anxiety. So I'm like thrashing around on this bed. They have to strap my arms down. My child's father walks in, and he's like, you looked like you were getting an exorcism on the cross. Finally, they got the baby out, but I couldn't hold him because my arms were frozen. And that was my 36-hour labor.
It seems her page was meant to document her journey into motherhood, the highs, the lows, and everything in between. But here's something most people didn't know. Kyra had been online long before TikTok. Back in 2018, she appeared on a video made by YouTuber Mark Roach in a video that got 64 views and had her own YouTube page made back in 2015. Kyra's page wasn't just about motherhood content. She opened up about her personal life in a way that few people do.
Put a finger down if you've ever been so blacked out wasted that you woke up to a cop knocking on your car window. You're lying in the back seat, confused on how you got there, and you're being blinded by the red and blue flashing lights. When you do open the car door, the cop looks at you and you're expecting him to get mad at you in regards to something to your drinking, but he says, "Excuse me, ma'am, Tim Hortons has called me because you've stole 100 Timbits." You look around and realize you're in the parking lot of a Tim Hortons, and you look down to find 100 Timbits in your car. Confused by the whole fucking situation, you run into Tim Hortons to pay for your bill without your socks or shoes on. You go inside Tim Hortons, everyone's staring at you. You pay the bill and you go back to the car. The cop, of course, is still standing there. He then questions you on your drinking, and because you have a Mickey of Fireball lying right in the center of your car in the open, you don't even try to lie. And so you just tell him straight up, "Yeah, I've obviously been drinking." He then asks you where your car keys are, and you, with a puzzled look, says, "That's a great question." So you start vigorously, I don't even know if that's a word, but looking around your car for your car keys, and you end up finding them in the front passenger seat. And you pull them up and go, "Here they are." And he goes, "Okay, are you planning to drive, ma'am?" "Nope, don't plan on driving, officer." And for some reason, God has sent you an angel. And he says, "Okay, ma'am, I'm going to have you just go back to sleep in your car if you promise not to drink anymore." So you do. But till this day, 5.5 years later, you are so confused on how the fuck you stole 100 Timbits from Tim Hortons without paying.
She talked about waking up in another country with a friend of me, spending over $6,000 in 24 hours and losing her job.
Put a finger down if you've ever been so blacked out wasted that you woke up in a completely different country than the night you started drinking in. From Vancouver Island, Canada to New York City, to be exact. Only to come to in a tattoo parlor in Times Square, realizing you're with a girl that you don't really like, but later find out you actually paid for her to come on this spontaneous trip with you. All you have on you are your tight pleather leggings from 2 nights ago, no socks, boots, and an I Heart New York shirt and the matching I Heart New York hat to go with it. Your so-called friend is wearing the exact same thing as you. Your cell phone is completely dead, and when you do go buy a charger and charge it, you have an incoming flood of angry text messages and voicemails. Pretty much everyone you know is mad at you and looking for you. You're also in trouble because you did not show up for work and you work for your mom. So when you do get back to Canada, your boss/mother has deemed you mentally unstable and you are no longer allowed to return to work unless you go to rehab. You ponder this idea, but then you check your bank account balance and realize that you have spent your entire savings. $6,000 in less than 24 hours to be exact. So you feel like you have no options. Even though now looking at it, I probably could have got another job, but in the moment, I was pretty upset. And my boyfriend of 4 years was feeling no sympathy for me and did not want me back home because this was just the cherry on top of the drunken shit I used to do. So you ended up going to rehab.
A few of her videos got 20K to 30K views. She was candid, raw, and unfiltered, even talking about substance abuse while her toddler could be heard in the background.
Put a finger down if you've ever been so blacked out wasted that not only do you call your ex-boyfriend every time you're drunk and high on cocaine, but you call his entire family at the wee hours of the morning, like 2, 3 a.m. And when they don't answer because it is 2, 3 a.m., you call on repeat over and over and over. And this ex-boyfriend has moved on by now and has a new girlfriend. But this does not faze the drunk you because you're just like, woo, he must miss me and I miss him. Psychotic. And then when you sober up, you're like, holy fuck, that is embarrassing. Shoot me, social suicide. And so you decide to delete all the numbers out of your phone so you don't make that mistake again. But the following weekend, the drunk you is super smart and was like, oh, I could just 411 the number. So you 411 the number and then call on repeat over and over and over. The next morning after that, mortified by your drunken actions, once again, you vow to never do that. So the following weekend, when you get blacked out wasted, you check your phone log the next morning and you're like, oh, good, there was no drunken dials to any of my ex boyfriend's family members. But then you check your Facebook messages and you have sent his new girlfriend an essay on why you think you two need to be friends and how you've heard how wonderful she is. You are mortified. So you just delete the message and pretend it never even happened, even though it clearly says read with no response. Yeah.
She experimented with content, even dabbling in tarot card readings, but her focus seemed to shift towards self care and personal growth. Her last few videos were simple, wholesome moments coloring with her son, ribbon dancing, and playing together. Then on January 15th, 2024, she posted a short but powerful clip with the words, "You're breaking generational curses. It's not easy, it's really hard, but remember, you are who your family has been waiting for." Go. A quick check of her Instagram shows that she's still active, as recently as 5 days ago. It appears her marriage has ended, but she's now in a new relationship and has welcomed another baby into the family. She seems happy and focused on her personal life, but will she ever return to TikTok? I guess we'll have to wait and see.